Okay, so in this video, I'm going to go over the best kettlebell to use for working out, what I think is the best. I've been using a few different kinds. These are just some of the ones that I've used. In my post, I talked about a few other ones, one from Rogue, one from Onnit, and also just your typical one that you'll see in apartment gyms or those type of gyms for the most part. But this set right here is from Fringe Sports, and then this one at the very end is from the MD USA, and then this one right here is from Cap. So there's different kinds. This one is just a regular one that you can get at Academy and those things, but there's different kinds as far as the texture and kind of the looks of it. In a way, like that one's looking like a grenade, and then these are just your plain and simple ones. The ones from Onnit and those places, they have a little bit different designs. I know they make them where they have a zombie face or Iron Man face and those types of things. So the designs are a little bit different on each one, but for the most part, every single kettlebell has the same basic layout. So they each have the handle right here, the body of it right here. They're typically all flat surface, so if you look at all of them, they're all flat and surface on it. And then there's a window right here that you can so that you can place your hands in. Now, the few differences that you'll see between them is the coating. So from Fringe, this is a smoother coating, but not as smooth as the Cap kind, and then also not as smooth as the USA kind. It's a little bit smoother, but it is a little, like, slightly rough. It's not really much of any type of roughness, but I like it because it's rough enough to where I don't need chalk if I want to do a workout. But if I do use chalk, it holds chalk well. I typically do use chalk for the most part anyways. So I'll kind of review the Fringe one, because this is the one that I use most often. Don't really use that one at the end too much unless I'm just doing a heavy thing, and then the Cap, not really too much just because of the feel of it and those things. But I'll go over the Fringe, and then I'll kind of talk about a few of the other ones that I have in my article that I wrote. You can check that out. I'll put a link down below for you to go and look at the article, and I talk about a couple other ones and their designs. But for the most part, I'll go over the Fringe one, and then I'll kind of show you, or you might not be able to see it, but we'll see the difference between these other two kinds. So the Cap, this is a real smooth, slick look and real smooth feel to it as well. This one is just only 25 pounds, but it's really smooth. You can fit both hands kinda. As you can see, it's a little bit harder to, just because it's a smaller handle size. So whenever you fit two hands, your pinkies will come to the end, and then it kind of pinches at that point. But the difference between this one to Fringe, same thing, handle, it fits a little bit more with your hands. But the size of both handles are about the same as far as gripping all the way around. The Fringe one is just slightly bigger, not too much. This one is just slightly smaller, or a little bit thinner in the circumference of it. But I can fit both my hands all the way around. As you can see, I can just grab right there. So I can fit both of them. And then this one can definitely fit both of them. This is from the USA. Same thing with the handle size. There's not really any type of difference there as well. You can fit your whole hand around about the same amount. All right. So the handle size isn't really that different. Things that are different, paint on this one. So the USA one, you can see it does chip off a little bit. You can see some rusted parts, but again, this has been used quite a bit. And if you're not really worried about paint chips or anything like that, then there's no reason not to get it or anything. It's a very good kettlebell. It holds up well. The Fringe Sports one, the only thing that's happening right now is a little bit of rust from it. So it does get a little bit of rusty, and then but the paint and everything does stay on pretty well. It's been used over a year now, or right at a year, and I can show you. Bring a smaller one, or I can bring all of them. But the paint is not really chipping off or anything like that. It's still staying the exact same. It is rusting. That's the only thing that it does happen. Rust on these. You can see it a little bit more. You won't see it as much on the black ones, but you will see it on this kind. And then same thing with these. Still a little bit of rust, but still works fine. And then the paint chips as well. So as you can see right here, paint chipping right here is what's happening, and then you don't really see too much rust, but again, paint chips, and it's coming off right here. So I just kind of peeled a couple more pieces off. So they do chip on this one. This is the cap one. On a couple of ones in the article that I wrote, I talk about the Rogue, and that has a different feel to it. So it's a powder coating. And that also chips. So if you do get that, I've used that for about 5 years, and I noticed that the paint chips on the Rogue ones as well. They claim that it doesn't, but it sometimes does. But it's a pretty good kettlebell. I would still say it's a good quality one. But for the most part, I go more with the fringe, just because it does rust, but the handle and also the finish on it and the coating and those things are really good quality. Like I said, I've been using it for about a year, and the handle and everything, it works really well. It's not too smooth or too rough, in my opinion, as far as holding it and gripping it and those things. It does hold chalk pretty well if you do use chalk like I do. I do use chalk a lot, and it holds the chalk very well. And then also, it's thin enough. I know on the Rogue and a couple other ones, the handles are a little bit thicker, so it's harder to hold on to. But these are thin enough to where you can wrap your whole hand around. You can also fit both hands around or just use it for one. These on here, you still will have that pinky kind of going off to the side. There's nothing really there's a few of them like from On It that have a little bit wider of a handle. They won't do that, but for the most part, it's a pretty standard thing throughout. Each and every single one of them. This one, not as much. This one's a little bit wider, and this is the USA one. But the cap, fringe, most of the other ones, I know Rogue, all of those, the pinkies do kind of flare out just a little bit whenever you grab onto them. All right, but like I said, on the bottom, more rust. There is some chips in there, but not really anything significant like this one. You can see different ones from there, but they all are flat surface and pretty well balanced. So whenever you set them down, they go and they sit smoothly on the ground, every single one of them. So that's pretty standard throughout as well. It is a flat surface, and then the body of it typically is the same as far as just that's where most of the weight is, but the designs of them are different. Like this one's a grenade, this one is just a silver, this is a black. Like I said, from On It, they have different faces and those things. You can probably get it from other places as well. The one kettlebell at the beginning of my article I talk about, they have more of a rubber type of coating on the base of it, on the body of it. So what I did one time, I didn't know it was going to happen, but I rubbed it again, or like dragged it against the carpet, and the rubber actually started coming off at that point. So it came off pretty easily. But it is a good kettlebell too. I know the handle on that one is a little bit different as far as you can still fit your hand around and do all those things, but it's a little bit more slick and smoother. So if you're not too worried about chalk or anything like that, or a really good grip on the kettlebell, if you're not doing like high intense type of exercises, then that's a pretty good kettlebell to use, especially for beginners, and also if you're just using it for inside purposes. Outside purposes and anything else, I would suggest using one of these kind, particularly these two. like either the Fringe, Rogue, USA, any one of those hold up pretty well outside, and also just doing more of those advanced exercises like the kettlebell snatch and those things. But I like the Fringe the most just because of the look, the feel, and it's held up really well. It's been about a year using them, and I've used them a ton of times, and it hasn't really given me any type of problem with it. I showed you kind of that it does rust and stuff, but it does also tell you right here, if you can see, it does tell you the weight in kilograms and in pounds. So this is 44 pounds, this is 20 kilograms, and then also it just has the logo, or not the logo, but the wording on the back of it. But it does do that, and that's pretty standard throughout most of them. As well, it'll tell you the weight in pounds and kilograms as well on pretty much every single kettlebell. But this one's just a little bit more noticeable because it's a little bit lighter in those things. So yeah, for the most part, that's about it for the kettlebells. Kind of went over what it is in a way on, they all have a standard handle, body, window, flat surface, what kind of similarities they have, but then the differences between handle size, also the grip of it and the feel. Like this one is a little bit more smooth and slick. Same thing with the one that I talked about in my article. That one's a little bit more smooth and slick. This one is just slightly rougher than this, which makes it, to me, better to hold on to, especially if I'm not going to use chalk. And then this one, kind of slick, but it's not too bad. It's a little bit better than this as far as the handle and the slickness goes. But those are kind of the similarities and differences between them, the designs and those things, and the layout of each one of them. So for the best one to use for a workout, what I think is going to be the Fringe Sports one. I just like the Fringe Sport one simply because of the look and feel of it and the handle size and all those different features that it has in there. That's my opinion on why I kind of prefer that one over these kinds, also the Rogue on it, and a few of the other ones that I mentioned in the article. So if you're going to try and get one, this would be my suggestion. I'll put a link down below if you're looking to see more about it and those things. Kind of see more of the features and what all it has to offer and stuff like that. You can get them in sets. There's a whole set right back here. They range from all different kinds of weight. So you can get them starting at, what does that say? 10 kilos all the way up to, I think this one is 24 kilos is what we have right now. There's also, you can probably get a little bit heavier ones from there. But I'll kind of show you, just in case you couldn't see in the video from far away, the different types of rust and those things. I'm going to show you a little bit real quick, and then that'll be it. So let me take you through that. Okay, so you can see that this one rusts a little bit more, even on the handles and those things. It's still a good kettlebell, held up, does a lot. I'm pretty sure it's been used for well over a year, so this is years of it. This one, you can see that there's a little bit of rust. Maybe at the top you can probably see it. Here you can see the kilograms and weight and those things. And then this one is a little bit harder to see as far as that, but you can see some paint chips on it. But here you can kind of see the slickness of the handle and those things. But yeah, it's kind of hard to see the weight and stuff like that and where it's from and stuff, but it is chipping off a little bit. And so I just wanted to take you through, kind of show you if you weren't able to see whenever I brought it up close and stuff on the different rust and those things. But so yeah. Okay, so if you like the video, be sure to subscribe and then also like and share down below. I'll put links up to my article, and also if you're looking at trying to see more about different kettlebells, I'll put a couple links up for that down below that you can just see if you want to see them. And then that's about it. So thanks for tuning in.